way to kick things off. The Saints Brass Band, everybody! Absolutely incredible stuff, and we will be hearing from them a little bit later on as well. Now, I am absolutely delighted to say that the Premier League returns tonight, finally, after a very busy pre-season. The Saints will return to action tomorrow away to Burnley. But tonight, we are here in the brand new home dressing room, and just have a look at this. It is absolutely incredible in here, and we will be hearing what the players thought of it when they saw it for the first time a little bit later on as well. Now, we have loads coming your way in the show this evening. We'll be hearing from Saints boss Ralph Hasenhüttl. We'll be hearing about what's new here at St Mary's Stadium for the new season, including the brand new fan zone. Lots of new things, very, very exciting indeed. And you could win yourself 5 tickets in the exclusive Audi Sports Box for the Bournemouth game on Friday, the 20th of September. All you need to do is head to southamptonfc.com, and you have between now and Sunday at 23:59 to enter. But now I am absolutely delighted to say that we have a very, very special guest. I'm absolutely itching to tell you who it is, but I'm pretty sure the Saints Brass Band can give you a clue. Hello, Matt. How was that for a welcome?
That's pretty good.
Do you wish you had that?
Out the back there.
I know, I was as well.
I didn't swear though, honestly.
Do you wish that you had that every time you walked into the room?
Absolutely. I might just carry them around with me in my
life.
life.
I think you should. Matt, have a look at this. What do you think of the new dressing room?
That's pretty special. I mean, that is very different to what I was used to back in the day, down at the Dell, with a pillar in the middle of the changing room, and it can just look like a couple of wooden benches. And this is proper. I mean, they're proper comfy seats, and every detail has been taken care of and looks pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it is pretty special in here. Now, you must have seen some pretty interesting dressing rooms in your time. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I've played at some grounds where you didn't have a lot of room. In fact, I played at some grounds where the players had to get changed and the subs had to go out because there wasn't enough room for everyone to get changed at the so same time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was some dodgy old places.
Well, happy to report they're not going to have that problem in here.
I can see that.
How important is it for these guys to have this kind of environment to prepare for a game in?
I mean, you can't help but look forward to coming in here on a match day. I mean, look at it. I mean, I loved match days anyway, so I didn't really mind sitting on a wooden bench because all I was interested in was getting out on the pitch and showing people what I could do. But this is just such luxury. These players are so lucky. Do you know how lucky you are, boys?
Very, very lucky
what we had
indeed.
to put up with.
Well, we are blown away by the new dressing room. We hope you are too. But what about the players? Well, this is the moment they saw it for the very first time.
Let's go. Ooh, ooh, wow. Ooh, wow. Honestly, very nice. Yeah. Really, Good job. Good job.
Well, the players certainly look like they are enjoying the brand new home dressing room. And actually, Matt, we've dug up a little throwback from your playing days. I don't know if you can see on the monitor here.
Okay.
There we go. That's you and me.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm second on the left there, and obviously Matt's there Just having a little lie down on the treatment bed.
Yeah, just having a little rest before kick-off. I did used to like that. About 10 to 3, everyone was kind of in the changing room and like getting really hyped up and everything. And I used to just take myself out that environment and go and sit on the medical bench and just, I was like, yeah.
Have a little snooze.
I'll be all right in a minute. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Well, it obviously worked for you.
Rest. That was my preparation.
Oh, wow. It's a lovely little throwback there.
But
We
seriously,
thought you'd enjoy that.
you know you're getting old people when you're being interviewed by a person that you've known since the day they were born. Honestly, it's shocking how old I feel right now.
I'm sorry, Matt. Right, back to the football then. We know the players have been extremely busy. A very successful pre-season for them. 4 wins, 1 draw, unbeaten. So very encouraging results there.
Yep.
But what about you? How have you been keeping busy over the summer?
I've had a little bit of work to do still on occasions, but I like to play a lot of golf during the summer, so I do that. But I also enjoyed going on the trip to Macau to watch the friendly out there. So I went out there with Ricky Lambert. We had 4 or 5 days out there, and we did a little bit of work during the day, but in the evening there was some nice downtime. And we might have found out where the casino was in our hotel. We may not have done, but we certainly enjoyed it, and it was great to spend time with Ricky. He's a top bloke.
Yeah, I bet. No, it sounds like an incredible trip. And how much of an appetite is there for Premier League football out there?
Oh, a huge appetite for it. It's amazing. It's such a massive market out there that I think it's great that Southampton are actually one of the clubs that are going out there and trying to tap into that. And I'm pretty sure that the trip was a big success, and me and Ricky are looking forward to going back again next year.
It was definitely a big success. Can you tell us a bit more about the trip?
Yeah, so we during the day we did a little coaching session. Well, I say Ricky did a little coaching
You were
session
on the treatment bed.
with the Macau under-16s. I joined in. I'm not great coaching. I'm not keen on that side of things. So I just, Ricky, you coach, and I'll just join in and play in the game with the kids and everything. So we kind of did that one morning. We did a lot of filming for social media. A lot of content that went out just in China as well, the social media channels over there. We were showing around little bits of tourist attractions and got to try some of the local delicacies.
Oh, amazing.
Well, you say amazing. I tasted some of the most disgusting ice cream I've ever tasted in my life.
What flavour?
Well, I think it was called dragon fruit.
Leave it
Honestly,
there then.
do you know what? I smelt the ice cream first and it smelt disgusting, and I thought it can't taste worse than it smells. And I tasted it, and it did.
And it did.
It was shocking.
Well, there you go. An exclusive here on the show today. Do not serve Matt dragon fruit ice cream.
In fact, don't ever eat dragon fruit ice cream. That's the best advice I can give you.
Well, if there's anything else you'd like to find out about Matt or ask him, don't forget you can send us in your questions. All you need to do is pop your questions or your comments in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to get as many of those answered for you throughout the show. Also, don't forget that you can be walking away with 5 tickets to see the Saints in action against Bournemouth on Friday, the 20th of September in the exclusive LD Sport box. That is an absolutely incredible prize. And quite simply, all you need to do is head over to southamptonfc.com and enter your details before Sunday at 23:59. It really is that simple. Now, we have got lots more coming up on the show for you today. We will be speaking to Matt about his predictions ahead of the brand new Premier League season, and we'll also be hearing from Saints boss Ralph Hasenhüttl. But now, let's take a look at all the goals scored in pre-season. Well, loads of fantastic goals there, and it seems that that is giving you guys the appetite for the new season ahead. We've got loads of comments here to get through from you guys at home. Sam Davis has said, come on you Saints. Finn has said, currently at Burnley, come on you Reds. We'll enjoy the game tomorrow, Finn. Baz has said, I want to be in that number. Well, you can be, Baz. Just come on down to the stadium next weekend when we take on Liverpool. Sue has said, hey Saints, good luck for this season. Jan has commented, we march on from Sweden. Thanks for your support, Jan. Scott Campbell has said, Saints Brass are the best band ever. I've got to say, Scott, I absolutely agree with you on that one. Eve has said, looking forward to the new season. Come on, you Reds. Simon Ward says, long live the King, Matt. What do you make of that? Could you get used to that title?
Well, not really.
Maybe it will stick, who knows? Laura, she said, Le God, and a little love heart emoji.
Oh.
The fans are going crazy. They're so happy you're on the show. Lucy Bennett has said, I'm really ready for this season. Hyben has said, good luck for the new season from Oviedo in Spain. And Jennifer says, come on you Reds, all the way from Ohio in the USA. And a final one here, good looking changing rooms. Well, they certainly are. They don't come much better than this. Matt, let's get back to you then. The fans are obviously very, very excited for the new season. We are too. We cannot wait to get underway tomorrow. But let's talk a bit more about the summer. How do you think the transfer window was for us?
I think pretty good. I think it was quite important that we got a centre back in right at the last minute. I think that was somewhere that the manager had been looking to strengthen. Obviously, we got Shayan and Musa in fairly early on in the window, which was good, but they left us right to the last minute, just waiting for that centre back to come in and just strengthen us a little bit in that department, so I think that was important.
Well, you mentioned Shay there. He's obviously come in with a reputation for scoring goals in the Championship.
Yep.
How do you think he'll fit in here?
He looks like he's fitted in pretty well so far.
He
He's got himself on the score sheet a few times in pre-season, very early on in the games, and he's looked a real handful. I was at the Cologne game on the weekend, and I thought especially first half, he looked like he was going to cause some problems for defenders this season. Looks a strong boy, powerful boy, and he knows where the goal is, and I think he's got a big season ahead of him.
Yeah, we can't wait to see him in action. And of course, we have just seen those highlights from pre-season. Some great wins against Preston, Feyenoord, Cologne, Guangzhou as well. How impressed are you with what you've seen, not just from the likes of the new signings, but the whole squad so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to go through pre-season unbeaten, but you can never get too carried away with pre-season results, because they count for nothing. I can remember having pre-seasons where we won like 8 or 9 games and fairly comfortably against some pretty mediocre teams, and then we started the season and all of a sudden we were in October and we hadn't won a game yet. So you can't take too much from the results, but I think the performances, there was a lot of encouragement there. I take more heart from the performances from the back end of last season. I think the team started to actually believe that they can compete properly again in this league and not just be a team that will fight relegation.
Well, of course, it's not just new faces that we've seen here at St Mary's. There's lots of new things going on as well. Here's Managing Director Toby Steele to tell us more.
So from a hospitality point of view, we're really excited to be launching the Fan Zone. That's a project that's been in the making for about 18 months now. Been quite a long process from a planning perspective. We're really pleased though that the finishing touches are going on right now. We have a test event next week and then launching for Liverpool. It's going to be a great experience for fans of all ages, pre-match and post-match entertainment, and something that we're, as a club, excited about being able to offer something to fans on a match day that we haven't been able to offer before. We're also opening a new pitch-facing lounge on the top floor, so something that we've been lacking really for a while other than our corporate boxes. So it's going to be called 1885. It celebrates the club's early history, primarily the first 20 years, and really want to pass on a thanks to our official historians and Saints Archive, who we've consulted and have been able to help us find some artefacts, give us some guidance about what fans think may like to see in that room. And that's one that's going to be available on match days and non-match days as well. So really pleased that we're again developing the club forward from a hospitality perspective. So in the concourse, complete new food and beverage offering. Key to that is Kingfisher, our new beer partner, so new beers and brands for all fans to enjoy, new food offerings, and then away from the food and beverage, common knowledge that LD Sports are our new front of shirt sponsor. We spent a lot of time with them developing their online platform and providing content to them, and that launches imminently, and we're excited about that and excited about that partnership. We spend a lot of time and effort each summer and planning throughout the year leading up to that, looking at what we need to do both at the training ground and the stadium to keep the site running as we want it to, but also trying to improve it year on year. And that's a lot of work that goes on there fans don't see and the public don't see. So last year we spent a lot of time and effort at the training ground, in particular the cryotherapy chamber that we introduced there. This season our focus has been on the stadium, so big project, or two big projects have been, firstly the first team dressing room. We identified earlier on in the year that was something that needed a refurbishment, so we spent a lot of time planning on that. Players saw it for the first time against Cologne, and I know that's going to be something we're going to be seeing during this broadcast. We're really pleased with it. The players really enjoyed it. We've improved the sight lines for Ralph when he's delivering his messages. It's a place where we can now get the coaches, the players, the analysts, the medical staff all in one place, and a real improvement for us and a step forward from a playing perspective. And then something again that fans won't see, but with a huge investment within our kitchen within the stadium. There are elements of that hadn't been updated for a number of years, and we really need to improve, particularly as the number of people that we're serving on a match day and non-match day is growing year on year. So a big infrastructure project there that completes this weekend. So again, really pleased that that's going to be ready for Liverpool. So yeah, a lot has gone on, and we're really pleased to have that all ready for the launch of the season.
Well, absolutely amazing to see everything that's going on in the build-up to this new season around the stadium. As you can see, we've been rejoined by the Saints brass band. We'll be hearing from them again in just a moment's time. But Matt, you're in the hot seat again because we've had loads of questions come in.
Okay.
We're just going to ask you a few. We'll
Go
just
on, then.
ease yourself into it. Nothing about dragon fruit ice cream, thankfully.
Lovely.
We have a question here from Simon. He says, what was the best goal you scored for Saints?
That was a goal I scored against Blackburn at Ewood Park from about 35 yards. That was my favourite one.
That's a classic. I'm sure
It
lots
came
of you
in a
remember
defeat,
that
which
one.
was a bit of a blow because we lost 3-2 that day. But in terms of technique and the fact that it was my mate in goal for Blackburn that day made it a bit more special.
Just rub a bit of salt in the
Yeah.
wound. This comment here from Julian Patel I absolutely love. He said, Kenzie, ask Matt if your dad's goal was the best he's ever seen or were his own better. Think carefully before you answer this one.
Obviously it was a stunning goal, but it was made so much simpler by the cross that was put directly onto his head. I can't remember who did it. Oh yeah, it was me.
It was you.
I have no idea to this day why I thought crossing the ball to your dad was going to be a good idea. I think I was expecting him just to head it back across the box for someone else to score.
Yeah.
But no.
He put it away.
He just stuck it
but that's
away
the
and
funny
that was it.
thing, because you always say he was just completely unmarked, because I suppose everybody in the box was thinking, well, Franny's not going to
He's
score.
not going to score. Absolutely. But I have to say, that was probably the loudest I've ever heard the Dell go when somebody scored a
Really?
goal. It was just the most amazing noise that after all that time, Franny had finally done it and the
Yeah.
place just erupted.
I could see Dan from the Saints brass band nodding away there. Were you there, Dan? He was there.
Good
There
man,
you go. He
good
was there when
man.
Franny scored. Well, listen, don't forget that you can enter our competition to win 5 tickets courtesy of LD Sport. That's to come along to the Bournemouth game here at St Mary's, and you will be in the exclusive LD Sport box. It really is a fantastic prize, and all you need to do is head over to southamptonfc.com, enter your details, and you have between now and Sunday at 23:59. So make sure you head over there after the show and get involved. Now, though, it is a very special man's birthday today. Ralph Hasenhüttl is 52 today. He looks pretty good for 52, doesn't he, Matt?
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted actually. He's actually older than me. and
Yeah, you are
he doesn't
catching
look
him
it.
up a little bit, aren't you? No, he looks absolutely great. But listen, we cannot hear from the man himself without a little birthday celebration, can we, guys? So I think we should have a little rendition of Happy Birthday. What do you guys reckon? Yeah, let's go for it. Take it away, guys. Absolutely amazing. Oh, happy birthday, Ralph. And speaking of the birthday boy himself, here he is.
Ralph, a new season and a new home dressing room for you at St Mary's, which has been completely revamped over the summer. What did you make of it when you went and saw what had been done?
Amazing, I think. It's really impressive and the guys like it very much. Me too. I have to stand there. I have to speak that to my players. I want to see everybody. There's no post in between where I cannot see the players. So we try to build it in a way that I can see every player, and I think they like it very much. It looks really quality, and it fits perfect to our philosophy of commitment, of sitting in a circle, and it's now we have to fill this room with success, and that's what we want to do. As you know, that we are a hard-working club, an open-minded club. We try to think about every detail, every small detail where we can develop a little bit, can help us to be more successful. This is what the hard-working club is doing, for trying to find the small things that makes us better. And if it's only a few percent that develops our performance, there's no way too far for us to do these things, and that's what I want.
Obviously, when you came in last season, it was halfway through the campaign. The team was in a lot of trouble. You didn't really have like long periods to work with the players on the training ground. How have those 6 weeks and that full pre-season been for you, and how important has this period been?
As always, it's the only time you can really concentrate with the team in any topic of what you want. We try to improve in different shapes. We try to get solutions for different shapes. We know what to do now in every part of our game, I think, and this is the most important thing for the players and for me. Not every player was as long as, for example, Shea Adams with the team. He was here from the first day. That helps us a lot because we could work with him. For Musa it was a little bit more difficult. He was coming very late now, so it will take time until he is an option for the starting 11, I think. But he showed in these sessions that he can help us and that he's a big important player for us.
Do you feel with the work you've been able to do that the players as a whole have an even deeper understanding now of what it is that you want from them and your methods and your philosophy?
I think we had a good fundament in the last season, build it up, and finally now try to improve a few steps or put a few new things in and try to improve, to play quicker in front, to minimize the risk, don't get the goals so easily, and I think the games were positive, the results were okay, but it's only pre-season. It's nice to see, but not really. Nobody knows exactly how good we are, and now it's about getting the results.
Well, great to hear from the gaffer there. We will be hearing from him once again in just a few moments' time. But now we've been joined by Dan from the Saints Brass Band. Lovely to have you here. We are going to come to you in just a moment's time, Dan, but we have got some comments to get through. Dan King has sent us in a comment all the way from Maine. Wow, thanks for your support. Ben Andrews has said new changing rooms look absolutely great. They really, really do, Ben. Carl Milton has said up the Saints. Louise has said, hiya. Hi, Louise. Great great to have you on the live stream. Graham Martin has said, Isle of Wight here. Thank you so much for your support, Graham. Charlie has said, watching from Spain. Lots of people watching from Spain tonight. It's absolutely great to hear. Matt Shepherd has said, watching from Reading with my 1-year-old son, Charlie. Absolutely love that, Matt. Start them young. That's what we like to hear. Saints Vlogger has said, hello from Cyprus. So excited for this season. And we've got a comment here from Trev Lloyd, who's also joining us from Lanzarote. Absolutely great to have you on the live stream, Trev. Eric Song has said, Shay Adams to score tomorrow. Let's hope so. And Sue Martin is watching from Jersey. Absolutely amazing to have all of your support. And don't forget, it is not too late to comment. So please do send us in your comments, send us in your questions to Matt, and we will do our best to read out as many of those as possible. Now, Dan, welcome. Loving the Saints brass band. It's absolutely incredible. But let's talk a bit more about football before we come on to the band. There's this real hum of excitement, isn't there, in the build-up to this new season. What do you make of the Ralph Revolution?
Well, speaking as someone who's been coming to this club for quite a while now, and as you could tell by having seen Franny score, and I kind of grew up watching this guy, so for me it's a real pleasure to sit next to him and listen to him talk about golf. Yeah. I think what we've lacked for a few seasons has been a kind of the community feel that the club's always had, and that idea that there's an investment in the fans as much as there is, and it seems that we're going back in that direction again. And one of the things I've found about Ralph, because we were lucky enough to meet him at Saints Fest, was he has time for everybody and he listens and he really wants to make this work. It's not. There's nothing fake about him.
No, he's such a great guy, isn't he, Dan? Matt, do you echo those thoughts?
Yeah, very much so. I've enjoyed the way that the manager has thrown himself into everything about the club, and the passion and the enthusiasm he does everything with. And I think that goes down well with the fans. When they see the manager on the touchline celebrating like he celebrates a win, they can see just how much he cares and how much it means to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've missed that. I can't wait to see him back on the touchline here at St Mary's, and of course tomorrow at Turf Moor. Let's talk about the band though. How does it feel for you guys to be outside the stadium on a match day? Because you're all fans. It must be such an incredible feeling for you.
It's great. Sometimes it's quite wet, sometimes it's cold. So, but we feel very proud to be a small part of this whole thing. We never really expected it to grow like it's grown, and we've had such lovely comments from people, and I feel very kind of humbled to have anything to do with this kind of great club. So for us, we just enjoy ourselves. We hope other people do. And we've been here for some great nights. It's been great fun.
What year did you start?
So this is our fourth season. So we started the first year of Claude Puel. So.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, we're absolutely loving having you along to all of our home games. And of course, you guys can see them in action when you come along to St Mary's as well, of course, as enjoying the brand new fan zone as well. Now, Matt, the band was obviously a really iconic part of life at the Dell. Were you ever able to kind of enjoy that, or were you always in the dressing room?
Yeah, not really. We didn't kind of get to see that too much. Obviously, when I was injured or suspended, I got to witness that a little bit, and it was all part of the match day experience. It was great.
Yeah, it is. It's so great because
I love these guys. I mean, I always park my car outside the mega store and walk into the stadium when I come to games, and always see these guys outside there, and they strike up a few tunes, and I'm trying to get to the door and sign the things, but I'm enjoying the music as I'm going. It might not look like it because I'm quite busy as I'm coming through there, but I love listening to these guys.
You're trying to sneak in quietly and they start playing Matt Le Tissier.
Yeah.
That's one way to attract attention to yourself. Dan, while you're here, predictions for the next season, and of course the huge game tomorrow against Burnley.
Well, I'm excited by the squad we've got this year. I think it's a really interesting attacking squad. So I think, for me, I think what I want to see is to see Saints play with a real enthusiasm and more freedom, which they have done under Ralph. That's what. So I'm personally, obviously, as Shay says, we're going to win the league, but I want to see good football, and I want to see matches where we can really get behind them and really, feel like there's a real connection, which is something Ralph's really brought. As for tomorrow, if I say something, it will go wrong, but. I'm fairly confident. I think they look great in pre-season, especially the home game. So I'm looking at a 2-0 for Saints. I'm not going to say who's going to score.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, you don't want to jinx it too much. We
Yeah.
like the sound of that. We'll take a 2-0. And we like the optimism from Shea as well, of course. And, if Leicester can do it, so can we. Yeah, we've got to be optimistic. Now, we will let you get in position because I believe you're going to be playing for us in another moment's time. But for now, we are going to hear from Marianne Spacey-Kell. She's going to tell us a little bit about how the women have been preparing for the new season after they were promoted last year.
I don't think the philosophy doesn't change. It's still about how we want to play will dominate what we do. Obviously we're looking more to who our opponents are, so we'll have more information, hopefully, and more sort of data on who we're playing. But ultimately, how we play is what's really important. And I think if we move on from what we did last year, as long as we move on in a positive way and build and continue to build on what some of the performances from last year, and build a consistency of being better, if that makes sense. So, we did really well last year, but the level's going to be higher next year. We're looking forward to the challenge, and for us to be able to meet that challenge, we have to step our own standards up, and that starts now in pre-season.
Yeah, I guess it starts fitness-wise as well. I guess the girls have spent a season now getting used to the physical demands, what you're asking of them, in the gym every week, etc. I suppose it's important that we remain at a base level now because they've had a season worth of experience of that.
Yeah, I think the one thing, if you spoke to the players, that really hit them last season was the training 3 times, the amount of times we were during the week, the intensity of training had stepped up. So then there's going to be some it's going to affect some of the players more than others. Some will step up to it, some will cope with it, some are just getting used to it towards the end of the season. But what I was really pleased with was the condition that the majority of the girls came back in. We set them some work to do over the summer time or over the period that they weren't with us, and the majority of them did that. And you can see that's evident in how they are now in pre-season. They're raring to go. They've done some gym work, they've done some runs, and now it's like we want to get on the ball and we want to combine everything that we've been doing during the summer, everything that we learnt last year, and taking it up to the next standard up to the next level for this season.
way to get in the mood for the Premier League season. Guys, thank you so much. We're very much looking forward to hearing from them again a little bit later on. But for now, we are joined by Premier League journalist Paul Belveston. Great to have you here, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Now, you, of course, work at a number of clubs in the Premier League. So kind of looking at the wider Premier League, how would you assess the transfer window?
For general clubs,
Yeah.
there was a lot of business done, wasn't there? There was a lot of money spent.
busy.
Incredible. I mean, just on the final day, it was looking quite quiet, and then you suddenly get £40 million for Alex Iwobi out of the blue and things like that. So, I mean, there were some cracking players who've come in. I think it's a little shame that Pablo Dybala didn't come off right on the deadline day, but no, there's been some improvement at the top end, the middle, right at the bottom. The likes of Sheffield United have, I think they've turned over sort of 20 players from their promotion season. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of new faces to get excited about.
Well, bringing it back to Southampton then, survival just isn't enough. Which teams do you think they need to finish above this season?
Well, I think this time last year there was almost an expectation of Wolves, who'd just come up. They were going to have a cracking season. They were going to break into the top 10, maybe even push to be best of the rest, and that's the way it turned out. There hasn't really been that sort of talk this year. I think everyone's expecting tough seasons for all three promoted clubs, Villa, Sheffield United and Norwich. Then I think Southampton should be looking ahead of the three Bs as well, Burnley, Brighton, Bournemouth. You've got question marks over the likes of Palace and Newcastle as well. So straight away, without really breaking sweat, you can make a case for them being sort of mid-table. And then if things click like they did at times last year under Ralph Hasenhüttl, keep pushing on.
Well, quickly on the title race then, of course, last season, it was a bit of an extraordinary one, wasn't it? What are your predictions, Paul first, and then Matt will come to you on this season?
I think you've got to be looking at those same two again, and you've got to feel for Liverpool the way they kept breaking records, and then Man City would break those records. So, you know, they're going to have another startling season. City do look strong. When they can lose a player like Sane to a long-term injury, and you look at their squad and think, well, they've got enough, that's not really going to affect them. They're going to take some beating. And winning 3 titles in a row for such a long time, people said it's the hardest league in the world to win back-to-back titles. They could win a hat-trick, and I think that's who I fancy, really.
Matt, do you think they're going to do the hat-trick?
Yeah, it's difficult to disagree with that. I think the strength in depth there is the thing that kind of probably the thing that nicked it for them last season. I just feel like that the positions everywhere across the pitch, they seem to have 2 top players. And as Paul said, losing somebody like Sane and looking at the squad and thinking, well, actually, we just bring Mahrez in, Bernardo Silva can play out there.
They're right.
They've just,
No
you know,
dramas.
we've got Raheem Sterling and just go the other side and bring somebody out, and it's just so much talent to choose from. It's difficult to look away from Man City for the title this season.
Yeah, Manchester City certainly are the team to beat. Now, we heard from Ralph a few moments ago, and we're going to hear from him again now.
Just how are you feeling yourself ahead of the Premier League starting up?
Good that it started, good that the preseason is over, good that we are in good shape and try or use this time in a good way. I think it's time that it's starting now, and it's time that the first game is coming, and we're happy.
Do you really feel that excitement yourself at the start of any new season?
Yeah, it's a mixture of being excited and not so sure how good we are. You never know. The first games are always important to build up self-confidence, to find a good way in this season. No guarantee that the season then is successful, but I think a good start can help everybody. Yes.
Everybody talks about fixtures and makes a lot of them, but what do you make of the start and the opportunity to get off to a good opening?
Yeah, as you know, our home games are very difficult, but also the away games against Burnley and Brighton is not easy. And I think those are all games you can take points, but it's difficult, like always in the Premier League. And we should look ahead only for 1 week and look from game to game. And finally, I think the players know that it doesn't make sense to concentrate now on the Liverpool or on the Manchester United game, because they have good games at home. No, we know that the Burnley is the first step we take, and for the 6 weeks we prepared for this game, and hopefully we are on the level that we that we can take points there.
That's the first game of the season, so you'd hope there's not much in the way of injury news, but do you mind just giving us a bit of an update on how the squad is, and I guess with the players you've got, maybe some of the difficult decisions that you might have to face this weekend in terms of your squad?
Yeah, absolutely. This week I have to take a few very difficult decisions about who is in the 18, who is in the 11. I think that a lot of players deserve to be in this squad, but I only can take 11. So there are still 1 or 2 positions where I'm not 100% sure. But finally, everybody knows if he's not in the first 11, we have so many games this season, and the chance will come. And the important is that everybody follows us, everybody's with the team, supports the team. Also, if he's sitting only on the bench or stays at home. Everybody has his role, and he has to live his role.
It was a very competitive game up at Burnley last season, obviously ending 1-1. What are you expecting from them again this weekend going up to Turf Moor?
Yeah, maybe the same like last season. A good atmosphere in the stadium. We were not impressed about the opponent. We tried to play our game. I think that was something we will do this year the same. Scored good in the second half, and then finally lost 2 points in the last minute from a penalty. I think finally it was okay that the draw, because they had also a few chances. We had a few chances, and it would be a tough game, a tight game. Let's have a look.
Well, we're over at Ralph's tactics board now. Gone are the days of the old flip chart. It's a little bit more sophisticated now, isn't it? How important is it, Matt, that we can play different formations?
I think in the Premier League you have to be able to adapt to playing against different formations if things aren't going your way. You know, all good managers will have 2, 3, maybe 4 formations that they'll be able to change, and the players have got to be adaptable. I mean, I was at the game Saturday where we played the top formation there with 3 at the back, 4 across the midfield and 3 up front, and I think that's looking like the more likely formation to start, but things change very quickly in football. The game's not going your way. You might see this formation at the bottom very quickly, but that can also change again, so a manager's got to be able to be flexible.
Alves, do you have a preferred formation that you like to see the Saints play in?
I remember the manager said in his first press conference that 4-2-2-2 was his preference. That's what he wanted to introduce. But yeah, I think 3 at the back to start with what an exciting front 3 though. If it turns out like that, Shea Adams, Nathan Redmond, Danny Ings, who has benefited from a full summer by all accounts, and you know, under Ralph as well, we're getting goals from midfield from Southampton, which is something we've not really seen for a while. So I think both formations have goals in them. After a few seasons where we've had to put up with a few droughts here, I think we could have a goal bonanza or 2 this season, which would be perhaps
Let's
not
hope so.
8-0 against Sunderland again, but you know, some decent scorelines. I think.
No, wishful thinking. Anything can happen. Now, the signing of Kevin Danso then has really seemed to kind of increase the competition for places. How tough is it going to be to get into this squad?
I think there's some good competition for places. I think the centre-back was the area where we probably were looking a little bit short, so I think that was an important signing right on the last minute of deadline day. But I think we've got good options, certainly players who may not start in the first 11 but who are capable of coming off the bench and making a big difference. You know, Shane Long had a good finish to last season. You know, you've not mentioned him, the pace that he'll bring to a side if you know we need to counter-attack on people. So if you had Shane in this position here instead of Danny, the pace that these 3 would have between them would be enough to frighten a lot of defences. So yeah, I think there's plenty of strength in depth there, and I'm looking forward to this season, I must admit.
I am as well. I have to say it's very, very exciting, and of course we will see how they line up to take on Burnley tomorrow at Turf Moor, and of course you can follow that game over at southamptonfc.com. But for now, we caught up with Daily Echo reporter Adam Leach on the formation and the selection problems that Ralph has.
Well, I think the first question is what formation he's going to go with. He obviously wants to get into a position, I think, to use the 4-2-2-2 as his favoured formation as much as possible. But he's also got to temper that with with realistically what he's got available to him, and trying to pick the best side for each game. And when you go to somewhere like Burnley, maybe the same when you host a big club the following weekend like Liverpool, you maybe think it's going to be a tight game. You don't want to give anything away, so then you think, well, maybe we're better with 3 centre halves. So I think that's the first big decision, and it's quite hard to second guess what he'll do with that. And I think that's the first thing he's got. And then the particular area, I think, where the real battle for places is that attacking 2, 3, depending on exactly how they line up, probably 3, because there's so many options in there, with Adams having arrived, with Musa having arrived. You've got obviously last year's player of the season, Nathan Redmond, and then you've still got a whole heap of really great options in there, and you're thinking, wow, a lot of these guys are not only not going to get in the team, some of them probably won't even get on the bench, and some of these guys were playing last season or were signings from only last summer. So I think that those are the big decisions he's got to make. I think you look at Ings, Adams and Redmond, and that looks like a really good, exciting combination that's got a lot of different facets to it. But then you've not even put in Gineppo, who's one of your big summer signings. You've not even thought about Long, Obafemi, Armstrong, Ward-Prowse, and how they fit in. So I think that for me is the area where there's the most competition for places and where he's got the biggest decisions to make.
Well, great to hear from Adam there, and great to hear from you guys at home as well. You've been continuing to send us in your comments and questions for Matt. We have a comment here from Paul Lucas. He says, happy birthday, Ralph. Very happy birthday indeed. We have Logan joining us on the live stream, and he says, greetings from Singapore. Wow, wonder what time it is there. And we have William, aged 8, watching us. He says, come on, Saints, I love your dressing room. It is pretty cool, isn't it, William? Right then, let's turn our attention to you guys again. Lots of fans sending us in their predictions for the season. I'm going to put you on the spot first, Matt, because we are going to go to a VT in just a moment. What do you think the fans can expect from this season?
I think with the squad that we've got, I think we're more than capable of finishing, as Belva said, there's a few teams that we should be targeting to finish above, and I think 12th place would be a reasonable improvement on last season, and I think one that is fairly achievable, but I also think with a little bit of momentum, a little bit of luck here and there, we could finish higher than that.
That's interesting. You've said 12th. Fans were asked recently at a fans forum if they would take between 9th and 14th place. This is what happened.
Season expectations. I tell you what, because I'm fascinated by having you hardcore supporters here, just very quickly, we always talk about club expectations being very different to fan expectations. So if I said to you lot, and this is purely me off the top of my head doing something off the cuff, Saints will finish between 9th and 14th, how many of you, please put your hands up, how many of you would that match your expectations? Right, so a good majority. quick, Koto. I didn't say 6th and 14th. No, so 9th and 14th, so that's a fairly sensible majority.
Where do I have to sign? Where do I have to sign?
Yeah. I gave you 6 positions, you're all right, you've got some scope, okay? We're not tying you to one.
So Ralph saying there he would take between 9th and 14th position. What do you guys make of that? Do you think that's a fair expectation? You saying 12th. Belvers, what are your thoughts?
I was quite optimistic this time last year, but I couldn't really explain or justify why. And there was a lot of bullish talk from within the club about being best of the rest again and aiming up to 7th. And that did seem a big jump, but, you know, why not be optimistic, shoot for the moon, all that. This time I think it's a bit more conservative, and I think that's sensible, and I think it's a lot easier to explain optimism this time around, because everyone must love this manager. There can't be any Saints fan that doesn't like what Ralph Hasenhüttl's done so far and what he continues to do. So no, I think you know, there were a couple of obvious areas for improvement. The shot conversion rate was only 9% last year. That obviously needs improvement. He seems to have addressed that in the transfer window. At the back, dropping 29 points from winning positions. if idiots like me can spot those two issues, you can bet Ralph and his team have been looking at that for months.
Matt, just how important is it that we get off to a good start?
Yeah, I mean, the fixtures have been interesting.
Yes.
You know, so we've got some tough home fixtures first couple of games, but I always said, you know, I would rather play those big boys early on before they really hit their straps, and it kind of gives you a bit of a chance because they've had players that have been away on international duty, and they might not just be in the best of form at that time. So. Although it looks like a tough start, I would have taken that. But at points on the board early is so important in the Premier League. To get a little bit of momentum can carry you through the winter and just get you going, and you never know where you can go from there.
Absolutely, I imagine it's just that confidence and fire in your belly as well. Belvis, question for you then: which players can you see stepping up this season and really shining?
So I mentioned the front three. I'm really excited about how they can go. The manager said that Moose is going to take some time to really hit the ground running, but it sounds like Sofiane Boufal has impressed in pre-season and could have found a way back in after his time away last year. But Jan Valery exploded onto the scene last year, didn't he? No one would have predicted that he'd finish the season as the first choice right back as he did, and I spoke to him in the week at a press day, and he is very determined, very hungry to make sure that's only the start. He's not getting carried away and on all the rest of it. So, and maybe there are a few more youngsters coming through. Obafemi, Ralph has talked him up so much, and he had such bad luck with his injury last year. Maybe he could come into it as well and give a bit more competition. There seems so many attacking options, but there's a lot of reasons to be excited. I think
there's some other youngsters as well. I think that will be looking to make an impression this season. I think Jake Vokins is, looking like a really good prospect at left back. You've got Callum Slattery, who got a little taste of it last season. He might play a bit more of a prominent role at times this season. And you've got lads like Will Smallbone, who has got a lot of potential. And it might be a season where he kind of makes a few appearances too.
Yeah, well, we know that Ralph's certainly not afraid to give young talent their start, but of course it all remains to be seen. We will have to be patient and wait for the Premier League to get underway tomorrow. Now though, one thing that seems to be popping up time and time again in the comments section is VAR. How do you think that is going to fare this season?
I'm really looking forward to it. I must admit, I've been a big advocate of getting this technology into football, and I'm all for anything that makes football a fairer game, and I think VAR will do that. We won't see those massive mistakes that cost teams points that ultimately could cost them relegation, cost them hundreds of millions of pounds, and VAR is in place to stop those things from happening, and I think it's going to be fascinating. One thing I will say is it really needs the fans to engage with it as well, so they need to I see a lot of football clubs on their social media channels have been posting out stuff about VAR and how it's going to work. It's important that the fans understand exactly what is going to be going on with VAR, so they're not in the dark when it comes to things that happen in the stadium. And I think that's probably, for me, the most important bit, is that everybody in the stadium understands what's going on, because otherwise there'll be frustrations.
Yeah, Belvis, I mean, in other sports, we see it, don't we? This technology is used so often, cricket, tennis, and it's really embraced, and it's almost like it's come into football, and people don't know what to make of it. But do you agree with Matt that if people just embrace it, then it will work?
I do, and I thought I had two interesting insights this week from two managers. Yesterday, Ralph Hasenhüttl saw it come in Germany and said it was an absolute disaster because they didn't have any testing time. The Premier League have been testing this for 2.5 years, and they've really gone over absolutely every minute detail. It'll still have a few teething issues, undoubtedly, but they have tried so hard to make sure that it's right before it starts coming in. Now, Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, spoke to him this morning, and he has been all for this all the way. He went in for a testing session recently, and he came out saying, I think there will still be some controversies and some uncomfortable moments, but he described it as a game changer, and I think this is definitely the way to go. You can't have Lampard's goal in the World Cup against Germany, for example, and situations like that. It's just, that angers everyone. If there's still going to be talking points, but it takes the great frustrations out of it, surely.
Yeah, VAR is certainly going to bring a hell of a lot of excitement to the Premier League, that is for sure. And something else that is definitely going to bring a lot of excitement to many, I'm sure, is that the Premier League officially gets underway in 3.5 minutes. We've been waiting so long for that, so we can't wait. Now, of course, the Southampton first team aren't the only ones kicking off their football this weekend. No, the Southampton under-18s start their season with a home match against Aston Villa tomorrow lunchtime, and Southampton under-23s are away at Manchester City on Sunday. And of course, Southampton women also start their season the following weekend away at Chesham. Now, finally, we have a message from Southampton's majority shareholder, Mr. Gao.
Hello, Saints fans. Thank you. Thank you for your support. It's going to be a great new season. We march on. We march on. Thank you.
Oh, so great to hear from Mr. Gao there. That brings us to the end of our show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul and Matt. Before you go, predictions for tomorrow, please.
2-1 Burnley was my super. 2-1 at
hello.
Burnley. That was close. 2-1 at Burnley for us. That was my Super 6 prediction for Soccer Saturday tomorrow.
Okay, we'll take that one. Belvis, what are you thinking?
I was going to go 2-1 as well. I will go 2-0.
You can copy if you want.
No. 2-0, and I'm predicting that these guys don't play. He's big, he's bald, or he's bald and he's got no hair, we don't care. That's what I was expecting when I came and sat down.
Oh, well, we can't wait for the Premier League season to get underway. Once again, thank you so much, Matt Le Tissier, Paul Belverstone, and of course to our fantastic Saints brass band. Don't forget that you can follow all of the action tomorrow at Turf Moor from southamptonfc.com. For the final time, I will leave it to you guys to play us out.